but we will venture to circle back with all of you.
Taking cocaine or not? What do you think?
This is such a good question. I have not had the opportunity to dig into that. I'll circle back.
It was a massive dump. To this day, everyone's trying to figure out where did it go?
Oh my God. Guess what I forgot to do? I forgot something already, folks. That's right. I forgot to put up the on-screen chat, but I'm doing that right now as I'm talking to you. And welcome to the show. It is Saturday night, as the calendar tells us, and we have a full 2 hours of the Paranormal Portal right on deck waiting for you. So it's just me tonight. I don't have anybody co-piloting except all of you out there. So, I'll be looking for your input, looking for your participation as always. Hello to Suxon. That's a new name. Great to see you. And Suxon first game is that, oh my God, I made it. So it's really good to have you here. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hi, Mom. Hi, Rachel, Eric, Wizards here, Karen Alberding. Who did I miss? There's more. But wait, there's more. I know Sugar Britches is here. Kevin WIPF is here. And Eric is here. So that's who I think is here so far. Just some quick shout outs. Just to, those of you that are running right into the door, I just have to give you the preemptive shout outs because you guys are on time. Even I'm not on time always for my own show, but you guys are on time. So before we dive into it any further, I just want to say a special happy birthday to my niece, Jenna. It's her birthday today. So I wish you'd all wish Jenna a happy birthday for me. That'd be really nice. And I had to get together. Not me, I wasn't there, but my brother and my niece and her significant other and my mom all got together for a nice dinner, and I saw photos of it. So just wanted to wish you a special, wonderful, happy birthday. Hope you had an amazing time celebrating, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I love you bunches, and hope it was a wonderful time. So, let's see, what else? Oh, God, I got a story for you guys. And here's the thing. Do I know this is paranormal? No. But is it boggling the hell out of my mind? Yes, because I can't figure out what happened. All right, so as you noticed, I didn't have to do any slow fades or anything because I've been working this afternoon and today on this sound issue that I've been having. And I was sitting here up till about 10 minutes ago, just grinding my head, going through settings, reconfiguring, rebuilding. Nothing was working. Still getting that same robotic feedback, and it was driving me crazy. So I'm just at my wit's end, just going, oh my God, what is the problem? Where is the problem? I can't figure it out. I mean, I've redone everything possible, even to the point of rerunning the lines and connections and everything, rebuilding profiles, audio profiles in the production software. I was just like, my God, what the hell is doing this? And going into really intricate settings, looking for anything that could be causing that loop back. And I couldn't find it and couldn't find it and couldn't find it. And all of a sudden, I swear to God, this is a true story, and it just boggles my mind. So every once in a while, I'll tongue in cheek say, it'd be nice to have a ghost hangout that would drag a vacuum around or something once in a while. Well, I haven't got one of those yet, but apparently I got one to stop by that is really good at audio troubleshooting. And I know that sounds absolutely bizarre and all the way out there, but I swear to God, I was sitting with my hands in my head, just going, oh my God, just at my wit's end. And I look up, and there's a brand new audio setting sitting on my production software that I didn't build. I didn't make it. And it was sitting there right under the old one. It's it's actually, the old one is mic/aux, AUX, auxiliary. There was a brand new one suddenly appeared right under that one that says mic/aux, parentheses, number 2. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Because I didn't put it in there. My hand to God and everything that's holy, I did not do this. And I was like, where'd that come from? So that's weird. So now it could be some kind of weird update or something that happened, but nothing updated. I didn't restart the program, nothing like that. But suddenly there was a brand new configured mic auxiliary. So I'm like, well, let's test that one. Perfect. Flawless. You're listening to it now. I have both lines up, whereas I would have the robotic echoey thing cooking right now on the other one. This one works great. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what the hell happened, but my hand to God, that just appeared out of nowhere right when I was at my deepest point of frustration, and it works perfectly. So, to all the wonderful beings of love and light, whoever did that, thank you so much, because we're now in business. And I even got the phone lines going and the volume's up and no feedback, no problems. So, I know it's a bizarre thing to say. I know it's a bizarre claim to make. And believe me, I'm going, really? You're going to say this? But I don't know what else to say. It just happened. True story. Happened tonight. So take it or leave it. Accept it or discard it. Your choice. But my God, it's just, and it works perfectly. It works perfectly. This is after weeks of troubleshooting, rebuilding, running lines, trying to troubleshoot, looking through Google, through help forums, and nothing. And suddenly this brand new setting shows up and it works perfectly. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, but just very, very cool. Yeah, it's just really cool. I don't know. Those kind of things don't happen very often. So when they do happen, it's like, ooh, divine intervention. It feels like divine intervention, believe me, because I didn't know what else to do. I was all out of options. I'd redone the same options hundreds of times just trying to figure it out. And like I was missing something or I missed some step and it didn't work. But then suddenly it did. So that's all I can tell you. Is it paranormal? No, I can't say that. But it's definitely not normal. So anyway, just some good news. We're back in the business. So I'm excited about that. At some point tonight, somebody will have to call in and we'll test the phone lines. But it looks good. So right out of the bat, something kind of cool just happened not 20 minutes ago, and amazing. So. He works in mysterious ways. Amen, Eric. Amen. I'm glad he works in mysterious ways or whatever ways. excuse me, whatever ways he chooses to. But yeah, that's pretty amazing. I'm thrilled. So thank you, angels or guardians or whomever showed up and did that. You're my hero. All right. So as I said, it's just you and me tonight, folks. We got a lot of things going on. One other little piece on the front end here. Next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, if you're a member of this show on this channel, if you're a member of this channel on YouTube, I want you to show up because next Wednesday we're going to be giving away a t-shirt to one of our lucky members. And who that is, I don't know. It's going to be absolutely random, but we're going to do it on Wednesday night. So show up Wednesday to be entered into drawing. You must be here to win because, you know, I'm going to need your details and stuff to send it to you. So, but yeah, we're going to give away a free t-shirt to one of our channel members. If you're not a channel member, become one, please. That helps us a ton. And I want to say thank you by giving away, you know, random t-shirts here and there. So, and other gifts, you know, I want to help pay back what you guys are paying me because it's really keeping the lights on here. So next Wednesday coming up, we're going to do a t-shirt giveaway to one lucky member of our YouTube channel member audience. So show up. Don't miss it. All right. I guess, you know, we got a lot to get through tonight. So we're going to do the news, of course, in just moments. I got 3 good stories, I hope good, pulled up for you. And then we're going to do the Discord question of the week. Special thanks to Chucky once again, keeping that ball rolling. And we're going to get into more weirdness and strangeness. And we're going to hit the cryptid corner to ride it all out. So I hope you guys are ready. It's going to be epic. All right, let's get to the news. And if you don't hear robot voice, we're still in business. I'm just like knocking on wood. So, because I just want to jinx this. All right, let's get to the news, folks, and see what we can find out about current events in the paranormal world. All right, it's time for the news. And I can talk, and there's no robot voice. Are you kidding me? It is a gift of God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. And I have a witness. All right. Okay. And special hello to all of you listening on TFR Live over there and on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. We are thrilled you're with us as well. So it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Paranormal Portal news. And as such, well, hopefully you walk away from this learning something. Now, is the news always paranormal? No, but it's usually very interesting, hopefully, and chock full of information that you might not have started the day with. So, yeah, and every day that you tune in with something new, I hope. And the first one up, of course, is going to come from unexplained-mysteries.com. This one has to do with some UFOs. Because we love us some unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomena, depending on which buzzwords you like to put together. So, all right, this coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. Please support this site. It is an incredible site. I love this site. And seriously, I mean, if you go and just click on unexplained-mysteries.com, put it into your browser and look, you'll find tons and tons of articles and information and from comprehensive, really technical articles to just really bizarre, weird stuff. They just have such a great presentation over there. So again, unexplained-mysteries.com. Check it out. And this person, TK Randall, is an absolute machine because every article is TK Randall, TK Randall, TK Randall. So whoever this person is, oh man, they need a raise. All right. We're going to unexplainedmysteries.com, unexplained-mysteries.com, rather. And the first one up tonight is Ryan Graves shares airline pilot's UFO testimony on Twitter. And this is from August 19th. Is that today? It is today. I think Unexplained-Mysteries is actually over the pond somewhere. I don't know where it's headquartered out of. It's the UK or whatever, but or it could be Australia for all I know. But It's always a day ahead because I've apparently read articles that have happened in the future many times. Wait, that's not yet. It'll say like August 20th. Like, really? Ooh. All right. So Ryan Graves shares this information. And this is a screen grab of some kind. I don't know the meat of this yet, but that does look unusual. Looks like, well, it looks really pixelated and zoomed in on, but it does look like a light anomaly of some kind with some kind of vapor trail or smoke. I don't know what's going on. It says the former Navy pilot and UFO witness started to publish the testimonies of other pilots who have had UFO encounters. Graves, who is certainly no stranger to UFOs, having witnessed a mysterious object with no visible means of propulsion around 10 years ago during his time with the U.S. Navy, has now started to publish the testimony of other anonymous pilot witnesses on his Twitter account. The latest, which happened during a flight from Santo Domingo to New York back in July, even includes photographs of the object that was encountered at the time. At approximately 1 hour into the flight, we were approaching the southern boundary of New York oceanic airspace, and at 32,000 feet, I called out a visual on traffic and was excessively bright and looked like about 80 miles range and then disappeared visually, the pilot wrote. I never saw the traffic on TCAS, which I assume is their radar that shows where other airborne bodies are around them. Then a few minutes later, I saw two objects round in shape, one lighted and one not, flying in formation just above the horizon at a range, I guessed, of 120 to 200 nautical miles, NM. I think NM is nautical miles. And it says the objects would illuminate to be as bright as a star for several seconds and then go dark for a few minutes, only to illuminate again. This went on for remaining 2.5 hours of my flight to New York on L453 in oceanic airspace. The lights seemed to be on or just above the horizon until we got closer to our destination of New York. Just prior to beginning our descent, the objects appeared much higher in the sky, maybe 80 to 90 degrees above the horizon and much further away, actually out of the atmosphere. Wow. So that's crazy. Huh. And there are videos along with this too. So if you're not currently following Ryan Graves, you can look for his Twitter account if you're on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now. You can probably find him and follow not only this story, but some other ones. But he does have some other images and such that are really pretty compelling. So whatever these things are, they weren't supposed to be there apparently. And I do like pilot testimonies. I think that pilots are very used to not only sighting other objects in the sky because it's kind of important that they do, but also just the fact that they do know what a plane looks like, and they're not likely to be misled by too many things. It's not, oh, that's just ice crystals in the stratosphere or whatever, reflecting the light of Uranus. I don't. It's always Uranus with me. I'm sorry. But, I think they are credible witnesses. They know what to look for. They know what should be up there. They know what it should behave like. And when it doesn't, that's profound testimony. So I think that's powerful stuff. But anyway, go over to X and check it out. Ryan Graves on his account, and you can see more about this stuff. So, and it was edited for privacy, it says there. So that's the first article up for Bat tonight on the news. You might not have known that, but now you do. You're welcome. Every time I'm going to say that. I'm just going to keep using the same lines. Why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what my dad always said. All right, that was the first story up tonight. Let's get to the next one. And hopefully this one educates you even a little more, because this one's bizarre. It's not real long, is it? No. It's kind of a bizarre article. I saw the headline and I'm like, what? But I think it might have to do with more microbial kind of stuff, but let's see what it says. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. And it says, did we find and then inadvertently kill life on Mars 50 years ago? I don't know. Did we? I didn't know we were there 50 years ago. Let's see what it says. It says, One scientist has revisited a famous experiment conducted by the Viking 2 lander all the way back in the 1970s. With 2 car-sized rovers and even a helicopter drone currently exploring the Martian landscape, it's easy to forget that it hasn't been that long since the idea of landing a spacecraft on the surface of Mars seemed like little more than science fiction. NASA first accomplished this feat using, with its Viking landers, and ambitious robotic probes that not only succeeded in landing on the surface, but even attempted to search for evidence of alien life. One of the experiments, which aimed to find organic molecules by mixing water and nutrients with samples of the Martian soil, had initially returned promising results, but after an extensive analysis of the findings, it was eventually determined that the result was most likely a false positive. Not everyone, however, is convinced that this is the case. Astrobiologist Professor Dirk Schulze-Makuch, of the Technical University Berlin now believes that the experiment designed to find life on the Martian soil may have inadvertently killed it. The key mistake, he argues, was adding water, something that would likely even kill microbes not eking out an existence in some of the driest environments on our own planet. If the Martian cells contained hydrogen peroxide, that would have killed them, he wrote. Moreover, it would have caused the hydrogen peroxide to react with any organic molecules in the vicinity to form large amounts of carbon dioxide, which is exactly what the instrument detected. Okay, well, I guess maybe they didn't know as much as they thought they did. So should the experiment be, or is it being duplicated to see if it was indeed a false positive, or what was it? I don't know. That's very strange. I didn't know there. I never would have guessed that water would be a bad thing. I don't currently turn to hydrogen peroxide that I know of. All right. Next, water's up on deck. So there you go, folks. I don't know. I don't think that's, I mean, when you think of life being on Mars, is microbial life important? I suppose so, because it would be the building blocks for more complex life, down the spectrum. But, is it a deal breaker? I don't know. I don't think so, because they're talking about like terraforming and stuff like that. And I think if you terraform something, you kill everything that's there, if there is anything there, in order to create something new. I don't think terraforming is a gentle process usually. I think it's pretty much just, erasing the blackboard and starting over. So if there is things that are currently eking out some kind of existence on Mars, they're probably not going to make it through the terraforming if they end up doing that anyway. Not that they will or won't. I don't know. Just this is what happens in my head. It's just a noisy place. All right, so that was the next one. I hope you guys learned a little something there. I know I did. So we got that going for us. And now it's time for the last article tonight from the news. And this one is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is another one from Avi Loeb, or Leb. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. I think it's Loeb. But unexplained-mysteries.com brings us Loeb. Aliens might be able to create new universes in a lab. Okay. I guess they probably could. Again, we could be like Michio Kaku says, and I think Michio is a pretty fascinating guy, because he talks about aliens and such, and he says these could be beings that are hundreds, thousands, or millions of years more advanced than we are, from where we are, and that is a huge chasm to overcome. And he brings up a good point. He's like, if you were walking along and do you introduce yourself to the anthills that you pass? And it's like, no, you don't. You just kind of like, oh, there's some ants, and you step. You probably don't try to step on them unless you're kind of a jerk. But generally speaking, you step over it and move along, doing whatever it is you're doing. And he equates that to, how these aliens may look at us. We're just the ants in the anthill. Like, maybe we're not considered on their level or worth worth their time, because maybe with that much intelligence and advancement, they can probably look at everything we did, and it would be akin to us looking at a Stone Age culture in some remote part of the world. It's like, yeah, they got bows and arrows, blow darts. Yeah, okay, well they're doing okay, and that would be about it. We're not gonna probably stop and talk to them a whole lot about what they're working on and what they've sorted out. So maybe it is very similar for how aliens view us, but the fact that, if they are millions of years advanced to us, I'm sure they can do more than just create a universe in a test tube. I don't know what a million years of technological advancement means, but when you think about the last 100 years of technological advancement, I mean, literally, we went from dragging, horse carriages around to, putting rovers on Mars, for God's sakes. I mean, with space stations and stuff. So that's just 100 years. So how much what does 1,000 years look like, or 500 years, or 1,000 years, or 10,000 years? And it just gets to be absolutely mind-boggling. So yeah, I'm sure they can. But anyway, let's see what he says. He says, the Harvard astronomer believes that sufficiently advanced extraterrestrials could achieve almost anything. Loeb, who recently made headlines following his discovery of mysterious spherules on the ocean floor that he believes were part of an artificial constructed meteorite, detailed his own views on the possibilities of alien life during an interview on Fox News. Of particular interest was his view that an advanced alien civilization might have mastered the ability to create new universes in a laboratory, and that our universe may have even come about this way. A very advanced scientific civilization is a good approximation to God, he said. Wow. Imagine a cave dweller visiting New York City and seeing all the gadgets and technology. In terms of the lights appearing as a miracle to the cave dweller. Yeah, good point. Also during the interview, Loeb noted that it is arrogant of us to think that we are alone, considering the tens of billions of planets in the Milky Way galaxy alone and the hundreds of billions of galaxies like the Milky Way in the observable volume of the universe. Perhaps noticing a neighbor will be a wake-up call that will bring us together, speaking of humanity as a whole, he said. There might be many more neighbors that are far more accomplished than we are, and we can learn from them. So my hope is that it will bring humanity to a better place in the long-term future. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's kind of my feeling is like, if they're there, and I believe they are, man, they really need to get involved, because this is getting to be an ugly mess. This is getting to be a train wreck in a hurry. And we've come through so many train wrecks where you'd think, as an advanced species, it would just be like, oh, no, hold on. It's kind of like watching the toddler in the playpen. It's like, ooh, yeah, I'm going to move that ball before he trips and hits his face on the gate. Something like that. I think we're at that. We're going to trip and hit our face on the gate pretty quick if someone doesn't go, wait, I can take care of that for you. So I'm hoping that if they are here, and I believe they are, that somehow they're listening. Time to get involved. We're train wrecking this deal. So anyway, I don't know. This has been the news. Hopefully you learned something. Again, hopefully you leave this with a little more than what you came with, or at least new ideas in your head that will seed future thought. Yeah. All right. Let's get back to the rest of the show. Most trusted news. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. All right. Time to get busy here. All right. Let's see. Where are we at? We are going to get to the next segment of our show, which is a great one. I've really enjoyed a bunch. And I think, we did have something going on It says for about 8 seconds there was something on screen. On the ghost radar, I don't know, it didn't make any noise, so must have been kind of subtle, whatever it was. I saw a thumbnail on Redacted that had a photo of an alien that is being hidden by the upper echelon. Yeah, well, it could be. Could be, Tracy. I know there's claims going back for decades about, aliens that were recovered from some of these wrecks that were recovered as well, or crashes, and maybe they're still out there, still alive. And if you look deep into it, there's been stories or legends of extraterrestrial beings working in conjunction with the government forever. Think of what's his name? Valiant Thor. That's the name I was trying to think of. Valiant Thor was allegedly a guy who was kind of an intriguing figure that was allegedly from Venus and worked with the Pentagon for decades or something like that. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So there's always been talk of there being beings from other places that are here with us and possibly even helping us along. But the problem is that I think if they are helping us, they're bending the wrong ears, because the people who they're talking to aren't really we're not in their club. So they should probably talk on a more broad scale. That's just my 2 cents. But what do I know? I'm just an idiot with a microphone, folks. I don't know much. But I do know that it's time for the next segment, which is a really cool addition to the show. And I'm kind of patting myself on the back because it's one I've really enjoyed doing, because it gives us a chance to hear your thoughts. We can hear your take on some of the weirdness and strangeness that is the paranormal. And it can be UFOs, could be cryptozoology, could be ghosts, could be strange phenomena, or everything and anything in between. Essentially what we do is we pose a question to those of you that are on our Discord community. And if you're interested in joining the Discord, there's a link pinned at the top of the YouTube chat. Just click on that and you'll be part of the club, and we'll, be happy to have you over there as well. So, but if you're listening, the URL is https://discord.gg/paranormal portal. And that'll bring you to the Paranormal Portal Discord and allow you to get started in being part of the community. If you like the YouTube chat, you're going to love the Discord, because a lot of the same people that are in the YouTube chat are over there. It's going good. David, how you doing? David said, "Hi, Brent. How's it going?" It's going good. I'm just having a great night, because it looks like the sound issues are finally solved. So we got that going for us. So the Discord is a great addition to what we're doing here. And so in order to tie the communities together, we do the Discord question of the week, where, again, we ask the question, we get your guys' answer, and then we read it on the next live show. So Chucky's been doing an amazing job keeping this floating. Thank you again, Chucky. You're doing wonderful, and it really means the world to me. So, but we're going to get to the question of the week now, which is coming right up. Oh, Karen was the last one to answer so far. Very good, Karen. Way to roll. All right. Let's see. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. I remember. First, I got to do this. Because now we can. Yeah, that's true, RJ. You should get the app is really pretty small. And again, if you do join the Discord, this is what it looks like over here. On the top, under the discussion thread here, the second one down is Discord tutorial. So we also do giveaways over here. In fact, Marie won the first t-shirt giveaway on their Discord, and we'll probably do those once a month. So if you want another shot at winning a t-shirt or some other prize of the paranormal portal anyway, you can join the Discord and then watch for the announcements. I don't always know when I'm going to do it. I just know I'm going to do it. Don't you know Murphy's Law, dude? Never say it. Never say what? What did I say? I don't know. I probably screwed something up by saying it, but because I said it's fixed. Yeah, well, you know what? I had divine intervention farm, so It's in bigger hands than mine. All right, so we're going to get to the Discord question of the week. And once again, Chucky's been kind of spearheading for us. And thank you so much, Chucky. It helps us a ton. The question for tonight's show is, question of the week for the Saturday show. Ancient maps of the world were illustrated with different sea monsters that were said to be encountered on voyages. Most famous sea monster is, of course, Nessie in Loch Ness. All over the world in various large bodies of water, there are similar tales of sea monsters. For example, Ogopogo in Lake Okanagan. And do you think there is legitimacy to the claims of sea monsters? Or has the legends been passed down so many times it has become ingrained in our culture? That's a good point. Yeah. Great question. So let's see what happens. Eric the Purple Hobbit's coming in first. He says, are you sure that's what it was? I think, quote, monsters was just used to mark the unknown areas. But I never thought of it that way. I know they tell tall stories of the Kraken and mermaids, amongst other things. So who knows for sure? Yeah, I mean, really, who does know? It's possible they also put the monsters on the maps to keep people away from areas that they wanted to secure for themselves or their countries. So they put a monster there just to keep people from going. It's kind of like the Greenland, Iceland thing. They flopped the names so that the Iceland sounded like this inhospitable place and Greenland sounded like a wonderful place. And it was kind of opposite. But anyway, Ariana Abyss comes in next, says, sure, I think it's possible that there to be a critically endangered species swimming around in the lakes. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very possible. There's so many bodies of water that have the legends, including the body of water right near my house here. It's called Lake Pend Oreille, and it's got apparently some creature or creatures living in it called, it's not real big on the name, but it's called the Pend Oreille Paddler. So I don't know. I've not actually talked to any witnesses that have seen it, but I grew up next to a lake, Lake Pepin on the Mississippi River, that supposedly has Pepe, which is based on a legend from the First Nations in that area. That I think they called it like the native name for it was like tipper of canoes or something like that. And I don't know what the native name for it was, but we just called it Pepe. And I didn't even know about it until I was an adult, believe it or not. I was swimming in that water all my life, and nobody ever bothered to tell me until much, much, much later. So, yeah, I never saw anything that I thought was unusual. I mean, there's, you go out and sit at the shore at night, and you hear some big lunkers out there, coming up, breaching and hitting the water. There's some really big fish out there, but I don't know about a whole lake monster, maybe. But anyway, next, who's this one? Again, I just got a W. What the hell? It's the next thing I got to sort out. What is this? Let's look at the profile, see if it tells me. No, it's just W here too. That just is so lame. Who is this? Is this within or somebody? I don't know. I apologize. I don't know who's W. But most definitely there are elusive marine species that remain unknown to us. And that's a good point. I think we still stand to learn a lot about our world, not only in the paranormal, in the Fortean and other societies, but also just the idea that we still, there's still land that people have never set foot on this globe. So, we've got a lot to learn. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that there'd be, does somebody see it? Somebody say it? Okay. Well, if you see who W is, please let me know in the chat. I don't know who W is. It's just give me a W with three ellipses afterwards. So I know this is Ariana because I've seen it and gone over that one many times, but I don't know who this one is. So I'm sorry. All right. Coming up next is Arc Blaster. I believe there's some legitimacy to the map creatures. However, most of what might have been misinterpreted by eyewitnesses is likely extinct or seldom seen due to international commercial freight, transport of goods and services, and military presences. Creatures could have evolved to live in deeper waters. I don't know, man. Just shooting from the hip. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly it, Arc Blaster. There's no wrong answers because we just don't know. So it's interesting to hear what you guys think. Grumpy Owl is coming up next. And we'll see what Grumpy Owl says. The Phoenicians considered the sea as theirs, so they would tell stories of sea monsters to discourage the Greeks and others from sailing it. Some researchers suggest that's why monsters are drawn in some areas of the map. It's ancient propaganda. It could also have been areas that were unknown still, and having a serpent drawn there represents our fear of the unknown. Good points. Some of these lake monsters are tourist attractions, yeah, like Pepe, where I came from. It's like, yeah, there's somebody put out a bounty of like $100,000 or $1 million for it, for definitive proof of the existence of this monster. And the person that put out the bounty was, I think, the mayor of Lake City, as well as the owner of the biggest hotel there. So yeah, he had a little vested interest in drumming up tourism. But it's not to say there still isn't some basis for the legend, but it does make it a little more suspect. Some of these lake monsters are tourist attractions. I think Nessie might be a real thing, and it's possible that Aleister Crowley might have had something to do with it, as it is alleged he rushed one of his rituals. Yeah, it's the Abramelin. He was doing a ritual called the Abramelin, which allegedly takes like 6 months to complete, and he didn't complete it. So some people suggest that maybe he screwed up and introduced a lake monster to it as a result. Where something escaped and attached itself to the woods. Did anything else get out? And who knows what other rituals he did out there. Were there sightings of Nessie before Crowley owned that house by the lake? I don't know yet. As for Ogopogo, I've been by there a few times on my way to Vancouver, but never stopped. I don't hear too much about that lake monster at all. I hear about massive eels being seen, or hideously huge sturgeons. That one could be a tourist attraction. Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know much specifically about these. But, yeah, it's anybody's guess. Let's see. Mel comes in next and says, I'd think there'd be seafaring version of cryptids, so yes, I'd say people saw monsters. Doesn't mean that they were flesh and blood creatures, but rather in the realm of unknown, like Bigfoot, Dogman, etc. Yeah, good point. I mean, why not? I think we probably know more about the space surrounding Earth than we do about the oceans. So there's no doubt. I think it's like 15% of the oceans, or 5% has been thoroughly researched, and everything else is great big unknowns. So is there possibly huge creatures in there? Sure, why not? Karen Alberting is rounding out the list. Oh, Rachel's typing. Rachel coming in late. Absolutely, there are legitimate sea creatures. The oceans are so much more vast than the land, and we barely know what lurks beneath the seas. As on land, new discoveries are made all the time. I don't think we'll ever know everything that there is to know. The oceans are so deep, and I feel it's pretty much impossible to know all that they hold. So yes, I feel there is legitimacy to these claims. Yeah, good points. I think you're right, Karen. Again, we really don't know a whole lot about the oceans in a lot of spaces. I mean, that's, what is it? 3/4 of the surface of this earth is ocean. Ocean and great big bodies of water. So how could we possibly know? I mean, we know the routes that our trade ships and goods are serviced and sent, and we know the travel routes, but that's only one slice, one line, and there's a whole lot of ocean outside of that. Now, I think, during World War II, they probably learned a lot more about what was going on under the oceans than any other period of history, because with the German U-boats and all of that, it became a battleground, and it was a very, very big deal. So, yeah, I'm just waiting on Rachel's answer here, so we'll get Rachel's take on this, and that'll about round out the answers. Refreshing water. And still, no peroxide buildup. Maybe that counts for all the white hair. Maybe I got peroxide buildup in my roots. Could be. I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, these are great takes, and I think that there is so much discovery left to have in our oceans. So is it unreasonable to think that there might be something much larger than a blue whale out there? I don't think so. I think there's, it's Very possible. I don't know. Is there still megalodons? There's still apparently sightings of those things going on. I don't know how much legitimacy to give them because, again, they're not always the best handled or delivered or researched claims. So I mean, but that doesn't mean you dismiss them. It just means that it's not like a science vessel found a megalodon. But you know, I don't know. Let's see what Rachel said. Perhaps some of these sea creatures were submersible USOs. Oh, that's a good point. I never thought about that. See, great angle. The oceans are vast. There could be so deep. Could be deep sea creatures that were disrupted from their habitat by submerged USOs and surfaced temporarily, possibly because they were being studied by the underwater craft. Yeah, I mean, that's a great take too. I hadn't considered that, and the possibility that some of these sightings might have been extraterrestrial vehicles, and maybe others are things that were disrupted by these ocean-going UFOs, the USOs, as it were. So, yeah, great takes, great thoughts, and again, just get involved. Just join the Discord, hang out, watch for these questions of the week, of course, because it's a great opportunity to pick your brain to see what you guys think. We don't know everything. I don't know anything really, but I know that I got a lot of ideas, but I'm not real sure of anything about this paranormal stuff. So I love hearing your guys' take on it. And again, every time you guys answer these questions, you're bringing a new idea to the table that I would have never considered. At least one in every thread. So, all right. And once again, special thanks to Chucky for keeping this ball rolling. That means the world. And it's been really awesome to see this carry on and not have to personally worry about it too much. Chucky's really on the ball. The next one will be, of course, Wednesday. So if you do join the question of the week, watch for the announcement for the question of the week coming out to you. It should appear to everyone that's a member. So anyway, this has been the Discord question of the week. Let's get back to the rest of the show. All right, folks, welcome back. And thank you to everybody that participated. That was really cool. Hey, there's Hooroo. I've got a lot of visitors all of a sudden. Couple visitors on the ghost radar, right on top of me, as it were. So hopefully they're working my shoulders. That would be nice. Thanks for stopping by. Still got the ghost balls going on back here too. We're not going to do the reason why. Okay, I suppose I should put this out there for you guys because, you know, I know some of you guys really like when I do the live investigations on the shows, and I really like doing them. However, the last 3 times were absolutely magnificent with a lot of activity and stuff going on, and that's fantastic. But unless I can set up some new things that we haven't done before, it's hardly worth repeating with the same pieces of equipment. Basically, you can almost be guaranteed that the REM pod maybe will chirp once. The voice ghost, the portal may give us some pretty cool answers. The flashlight may flash on, and the cat ball may flash as well. So those are my testing methods currently. And rather than just continue to put out the same pieces and maybe get similar results, I'll hold off until I have a new approach to bring something new visually to the show, because I think it's incredible. Don't get me wrong. I am absolutely thrilled when we do that and when we get the feedback, when we get responses from these intelligences that are around us. But I don't want to keep repeating the same show. So essentially we'll revisit it in the future when I've got more methods of testing that we can test out as well. So I just don't want to keep giving you the same show. Like, hey, it's Saturday, time to put out the equipment and sit here and look at it, watch it flash and do stuff. And I realize that sounds like it's like, oh, well, whatever. It's not. To me, it's incredible, but I know you guys have seen it, and I don't want to keep showing you the same things over and over. So anyway, that's my logic behind this. So, hello. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was meaning to say hooroo. Hello. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in. It's great to see you. Hooroo. What's hooroo anyway? Is that a regional thing or is what is that? But looks like a channel though. Definitely check out Hooroo TV. Never heard of it before, but thank you. That's really cool. And you can call in. That's true. If somebody wants to call, we can test the phones to see if my audio problems are indeed solved, and then we'll know that it's okay to bring Deb on. Right now, we've got Deb tentatively scheduled for the 2nd. Is that right? Yeah, they are so much fun. You're true. It's true. It is fun and it's exciting, but at the same point, I know that maybe for sitting back out there watching, it's going to be more repetitive to show you the same things over and over and over. So I do try to keep the shows as fresh as I can because I want to give you guys the best shows I can. And if I'm just showing you the same thing over and over and over and over, it's going to run the mill. If that even makes sense. I don't even know what the hell running the mill is, but it came out of my mouth, so I was rolling with it. What was I going to look at? Oh, the 2nd. Yeah, what was that? Yeah, the 2nd right now is when we're tentatively planning. And please remember that the week of the 4th and 5th, there won't be any shows that week. After the 2nd will be the last show, and then a week off because Donna and I will be heading down to Phenomicon in Vernal, Utah. And so we're going to be in Communicado for a while. I'll still maybe stream here and there when I can, just to show you guys the events and what's going on. But I don't know. Maybe doing some investigating while we're down there too with the Supernatural Station guys, Jaron and Roman. But all of that will be determined when we get there for sure. But I'm going to bring down my gear. We'll see if we can do some investigating near Skinwalker Ranch. See if we can capture something on film, capture something on video, and maybe some ghostly stuff as well. So we'll dig it up and get out there and hopefully bring you guys some pretty cool stuff. But at the very least, we're going to be down there mixing it up. We're not getting a table this time. So if you're going to Phenomicon, we're not actually getting a table. We're just going to be kind of free floating around. But if you're there and you see us, please come say hello. We'd love to see you guys. I know Barbara was down there. We met her last time. We met Jaron and Roman and met Jess there as well. Jess drove up from Arizona to be there. So it was a lot of fun. But if you're there and Phenomicon in Vernal, Utah, the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, definitely catch up with us and say hello. We'd love to see you. So anyway, let's get to the rest of what we're doing tonight. All right. Who wants to call? Who wants to call me so I can test the phone lines tonight? Somebody call. All right. 720-923-0500. Just call in. I just want to test them. Nothing too important. But if you wouldn't mind calling, that'd be great. Then I can know that the phones are working. Last show we had a call that I couldn't answer because the phones weren't working. The sound wasn't working. So Brent, David say Wonder Woman is the W in it. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So that was Wonder Woman. Okay, great. Thank you, Wonder Woman. And sorry, I didn't know. It was just a W. And it's, I don't know why my Discord's doing that, but I'm going to have to look into that next. Okay, we do have a call here. So let's see who's calling. This is area code 432. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Brent.
Oh,
you good?
Yeah, fantastic. And I can hear you. This is working. Who are we talking to?
Alrighty. It's RJ Windwalker.
Hey, brother. Thank you for calling in and helping me test this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was me the other day. I was calling about that ranch I was going to go check out.
Oh, okay, cool. Did you check it out?
Yeah. Yeah, we found some stuff, and then we had an incident. I was at this one part, and I fell about close to 7 feet down a hole.
Oh, geez. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm good. Busted up my tooth pretty good.
Oh,
but it turns out that there's a tunnel underneath this ranch that the rancher didn't even know.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. That's a painful
Yeah,
thing.
it looks like it was burrowed out or something. Nobody knows, but
Wow.
right now it's under investigation. I'm not allowed to tell much, but when I went back down there, I found a small shoe.
Ooh. Wow.
Look like a small cowboy shoe.
Like a duende shoe or something?
No. It looks like something from a child.
Oh, gosh. I hope everything's okay.
So, we don't know. But apparently, the last time I talked to the rancher, they got a few rangers and stuff out there, so they're checking it out.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely hope everything's okay there. But yeah, brother, let us know when you can talk more about it. Love to hear more about this.
Oh yeah, I will.
All
I
right.
almost killed a friend of mine because we smelled something coming from down there, and he lit a match while I was still underneath the hole. So,
Yeah.
oh man, it was one of them nights. So. No, but I figure I'd go ahead and let you guys know and check the new line and see how it's doing.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much. It's great to talk to you. And yeah, keep us posted, man.
All righty, I will.
All right. Have a great night.
Bye. You too, brother.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the phones are working. That means we can definitely have Deb on the second. And because we tried to get her on, and that was just when I had done the update and everything just went to hell. It was just like, oh no. So we're back in business here on the Paranormal Portal. And that's exciting. Good. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Now it's time for more of the paranormal part of the Paranormal Portal. And where the hell's my mouse? There it is. There it is. Okay. So I've got a bunch of stuff pulled up here. The first thing I wanted to read was actually coming from animalien.com. And I know I'm mispronouncing that. They have a podcast as well. And I'm sorry for brutalizing that name. I've just always said it Animalien, but I think they call it Anomalien or something. I apologize. Anyway, it's a great site. Check out animalien.com, ANOMALIEN.com. It's a great repository for amazing stories and things that they've looked into as well. And this one has to do with the big cats over in the UK. So, as you recall on the show, and it was on the news, during the news, there was somebody doing a pretty in-depth research effort over there, and they'd found a hair sample on a barbed wire fence or something. And they had tested that genetically and found that it did indeed belong to a big cat species. And so it seemed to definitely substantiate the fact that there's big cats over there, just like the people have been seeing, just like the claims have been going on forever, and just like that keeps getting pushed under the rug. Well, this article is about more of that. And so I don't have a date on this one. Oh, yeah, I do. It's from the 15th. It's the mysterious big cat, British big cat, turned out to be a real panther. Oops. Forgot to turn that off. There we go. Turned out to be a real panther. And again, this is animalien.com. This is by Jake Carter. It says, for decades in part of the UK, especially in Scotland, tales have circulated about enigmatic, almost mystical big cats resembling cougars, black leopards, or jaguars. These elusive big cats frequently targeted sheep, leaving surprisingly little or minimal physical traces behind. Consequently, rumors emerged among the populace speculating that these big cats hailed from another realm, not fully bound by flesh and blood. So there's kind of the whole trans-dimensional idea that was being utilized for these. It says, over time, numerous eyewitnesses captured photographs of these enigmatic felines, yet most were either too indistinct or taken from considerable distances, rendering the creatures barely discernible. If you look at this is clearly a panther head. There's no question. Now, I don't know that this photo actually originates from the UK, but I don't know enough about their plants and such to say. But if it is, that's clearly a big cat head. That's not a domestic cat. Remarkably, just recently, a Staffordshire resident succeeded in photographing one such big cat. Oh, okay, that's this. All right. Encountering it reclining amidst tall grass in a field, though the image's quality may not be optimal, it remains the most definitive portrayal of this creature to date, unequivocally identifying it as a black leopard or panther. This sensational image takes center stage in a new documentary, Panthera Britannia, Declassified, recently featured on Amazon Prime and already adorned with multiple accolades. The image's unearthing proved serendipitous, as the director of a zoology center stumbled upon it while sifting through the archives. The photograph was taken several years prior and subsequently misplaced. Sure was. The photograph unequivocally depicts a sizable Panthera cat with discernible whiskers. Attached to the image was a cryptic handwritten letter bearing solely a date, March 17th, sans the year, remarks the center's director. Although the letter lacks a full signature and sender's address, it asserts the authenticity of the image. If proven genuine, this photograph may stand as the paramount depiction of the elusive British big cat, as affirmed by the center's director. The film also talks about biological material which was found at a sheep slaughter site in Gloucestershire in 2022, whose DNA analysis confirms the presence of a large feline there. This amazing lost photograph and stunning new scientific discovery are only part of the collective evidence presented in our film. The documentary is mainly based on the findings. We used real science and real experts and tried to be as objective and analytical as possible, says Tom Wittard, director of British Panther Unmasked. The research process during filming was intense and exhaustive and took us thousands of hours in various archives, libraries, museums, and laboratories. We also traveled to locations in the wild and met with hundreds of eyewitnesses. The result of this is a mind-blowing journey of discovery for viewers that really brings this topic to light as a serious zoological problem. This is a sad story. The majestic big cats probably lived in private zoos until 1976, when the compulsory license law was passed in the UK. At the time, big cats were popular, fashionable, and considered a status symbol. When the exotic animal license law was introduced, many owners simply released their pets into the countryside. In fact, those big cats that people now see are the descendants of abandoned pets. There you go. So go check it out. And that's, what was the name of that again? It's Panthera Britannia, Declassified. It's now on Amazon Prime, so you can watch the full unveiling and unleashing. Speaking of new documentary, Mr. Tony Merkel has just been premiering The Shape of Shadows, which is his latest investigatory film, and I hope you guys will check it out. It looks so brilliantly done. It's done over in Utah, and deals with some pretty incredible topics, including skinwalkers and more. So definitely check that out, and you can go over to the confessionalspodcast.com and get more information. But yeah, I think it's wonderful. And if you caught his Dogman documentary, he does a hell of a job. I mean, Tony's just always busting his tail and just does an incredible job. So definitely support what he's doing. Head over to the confessionalspodcast.com. Let me get the site up here and let's see what we can find. Confessionalspodcast.com, and we'll pull it up here so you can see. Here we go. So here's the confessionalspodcast.com, and right up on top there, The Shape of Shadows. Now it's already premiered, but you can watch the replay for a limited time before it gets shut down, and then it's just pushed out to sites like Amazon and stuff. So If you want to check chance to check it out, over here's the link. Shape of Shadows premiere 8/19/23 today. Get your VIP tickets to the Shape of Shadows. So you can check it out. Again, theconfessionalspodcast.com. Follow the links and check it out. Tony's doing some amazing stuff over there with both the Confessionals and Merkle Media. So you want to check it out. God knows I'm going to be checking it out. I just haven't had a chance to sit still for days, but it's on the agenda. So check it out. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until it gets posted on some other site like Amazon or Netflix. I don't know where they're marketing it to, or some other pay-per-view angle. But very cool. They also did a live chat today too, which is awesome. I wish I'd had a chance to sit in on that, but I just didn't. I've been running ragged. But anyway, I did want to make a mention of that. So, well, that was that. Let's close animalien.com. Very cool though. I like, here's the thing. I think this is very powerful because, again, with the big cat stuff, it's been a cryptid. It's been a cryptozoological anomaly for a long time. Oh, there's big cats out there. People see them. There's the, this lion-like thing running around. I can't remember where, but, and there are all these claims and some pretty impressive pictures through the years that have come up showing a blur of what you can make out to be a large feline shape and how it's just been consistently brushed under the rug. Nope, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Well, somebody finally made it their mission, and looks like they finally have compelling evidence that, yeah, there's plenty to see there. And the other part of it is, I think it's important, is that, again, if these things are out there, people have the right to know. Let's go through a bike trip through Gloucestershire. How about not? How about don't do that until you kind of nail down where these big cats are, and because like in the West, especially the Southwest of the United States, California and stuff, they sometimes have these mountain lion attacks on bikers and stuff, and they're not pretty. Those cats go in for the kill. They don't go just to mess with people. They go in to kill. They go for the neck. They go, and they really, if you live through it, you're going to be in a lot of pain and surgery, because these people get brutalized, and some people don't make it. They don't make it to get healed. So, people have a right to know that stuff. It's like if I was going to go swimming in the lake here and nobody bothered to tell me, look, there's piranhas everywhere. And then I go swimming and, oh, look, I get eaten by piranhas. I mean, I had a right to know before I went swimming. I think the same is true for our wild places. Now, again, it could be said for the same for dogmen, for Bigfoot. And I don't know if there's, what level of evidence they would have for those things. But the big cats, there was plenty of evidence there that if they had done a real official inquiry, they could have found out a long time ago. But they opted not to. And so how many people have gone missing? How many people didn't make it out of Gloucestershire? I don't know. I'm not saying there's been a ton of missing people over there, but there's some. And what if they did fall prey to the big cats? Because it was just not a reality. It was just some conspiracy theory. It's the dismissal of those things that I think is absolutely a shame. People have a right to know when they could be in danger. So, but you be the judge. So, anyway, just my thoughts on that. So, we're gonna go to an article, but not this one. Not that one. And not that one. Where's my article? Oh, here we go. This one's another one that I wanted to cover before we hit the cryptid corner. This one has to do with UFOs. This is coming from howandwise.com. And the article is from when? Vicky Verma. And actually, Vicky Verma's a guy. I didn't know that. Vicky Verma's a gentleman. I found that out on Twitter or X or whatever. But I just don't know many guys that are named Vicky, so I was a little surprised. Like, oh, that's a guy. But Vicky Verma wrote this one, and it was last updated on March 3rd of 2023. So it's pretty well updated. So the article is, man who ran Area 51 claimed they had alien craft and non-human beings. So Bob Lazar is telling the truth. You know, I imagine with a lot of this stuff, Bob Lazar is like, oh my God, see, I told you. Jeez. He's been talking about this stuff for ages, and he was so dismissed. So incredibly dismissed. And how many other people tried to blow the whistles and either had car accidents or they ended up, you know, just being run into obscurity by this overwhelming barrage of bad press. So I'm just really glad that there's some vindication for some of these people now. All right, so the article goes, the recent podcast, Weaponized, starring filmmaker Jeremy Corbell and investigative journalist George Knapp, has ignited a long debate on Area 51 holding secrets of UFOs and non-human beings. Mr. Knapp explained a lot of the corroborating evidence regarding people that confirm Bob Lazar's claims, as well as the S4 base he worked at, Nevada Desert, and the company that vetted him, which is EG&G. Lazar's identity... I'm sorry if I'm really, really froggy right now, but there's so much forest fire smoke up here. It looks like my neighbor's burning leaves, that whole clouds of smoke everywhere. Just, you go outside and you feel like you're smoking cigarettes. It's horrible. So I'm kind of locked up in the house, but it's still bugging the hell out of my breathing. So let's see. Lazar's identity as an Area 51 scientist has always been discussed by other people in ufology. Lately, Dr. Travis Scott has been discrediting Bob Lazar and said he did work at Area 51, but as a janitor. Ooh, that's harsh. Many users find it a direct attack on Lazar's credentials, as he failed to show his qualifications. However, there are credible experts that have confirmed Lazar's work at Area 51. Mr. Knapp revealed to Corbell that while working on the follow-up series UFO The Best Evidence in 1990, he came to know about a man named Alfred O'Donnell, who was the general manager at EG&G in Nevada that managed Area 51. According to Knapp, O'Donnell claimed that they didn't have a flying saucer that had been recovered from New Mexico and a live being. That they did have, sorry, not didn't. Excuse me. EG&G was created by three scientists, Harold Edgerton, Kenneth Germeshausen, and Herbert Greer. The company specialized in measurement of energy created by nuclear weapons explosions. EG&G was involved in the development of a complex little gadget that could arm an atomic bomb, start an automated countdown, set it off, and collect data on how it behaved. The company played a role in the mitigation of well-educated professionals to Las Vegas in the early 50s, including Alfred O'Donnell, a technician who worked for the company. I guess that's him, yep, Alfred O'Donnell. O'Donnell was a prominent figure in Area 51 who had all the clearance to walk anywhere in the facility. Moreover, his background is good enough to add credibility to Bob Lazar's claims. Mr. Knapp shared his story meeting O'Donnell, who told him about the recovered craft that was stored at the Indian Springs Creech U.S. Air Force Base, but later was transferred to the newly built Area 51 in 1955. They moved it to an adjacent facility. He didn't say it was S4. He didn't say it was Papoose, but I think it's what he's talking about. Papoose Lake is where Bob Lazar said he worked, and where he had built hangars underground, disguised it to look like the deserts, and where they had other recovered aircraft, Mr. Knapp said. O'Donnell told Knapp all the secret information about UFOs at a coffee shop. He said that they were trying to reverse engineer the recovered craft and duplicate the technology to build more craft like that. Excuse me. Further, O'Donnell revealed that they were worried that it could get out. He said they were holding it in a cage as they did not understand it. They didn't know what it was. To tell you the truth, we couldn't communicate with it. In the beginning, we didn't know what it was. We didn't know where it was from, and we didn't know what to do with it. Eventually, they figured out a way to communicate with it, so I asked him, well, what did it look like? And he said, well, kind of looks like a certain political candidate. At the time, Ross Perot was running for president. He said, it looks like Ross Perot, a little skinny guy with big ears and a tiny head. Not a classic gray-looking alien, but a very odd-looking creature. Mr. Knapp further shared a story about a former female employee of the defense contractor Holmes and Narver, who allegedly had knowledge about crashed saucers, recovered materials, and what sounded like a Roswell type of incident. The woman had been intimidated by unknown agents before she was scheduled to speak with Knapp, causing her to cancel the meeting. Oh, and there's a link in here too. I'll put the link in the chat so you guys can check out the other videos and stuff. Knapp also mentioned that former congressional staffer Richard D'Amato investigated claims about crashed saucers and visited Area 51, but was unable to verify the statements Knapp later. The statements. Period. Knapp later scheduled a meeting between D'Amato and EG&G employer O'Donnell, which was allowed by EG&G co-founder Herbert Greer. However, O'Donnell refused to tell D'Amato anything. Knapp stated that O'Donnell made a deathbed confession, confirming the existence of a crashed flying saucer and a living being. However, no recording of O'Donnell's confession has surfaced. If the recording was made public, it would lend credibility to the assertions made by Bob Lazar, who claimed to have worked on recovered saucers in Area 51. Years after his initial conversation with Knapp, O'Donnell changed his story and shared a very different version of the flying saucer incident with journalists and author Annie Jacobson, which regarded the unidentified anomalous phenomena incidents at Roswell in 1947. Journalist Christopher Sharp writes that Jacobson mentioned different version of O'Donnell's story in the book Area 51, An Uncensored History of America's Top Secret Military Base, according to which Roswell incident was not the result of non-human intelligence, but in fact a Russian craft with grotesque child-sized aviators developed in human experiments by Nazi doctor and war criminal Joseph Mengele. But Mr. Knapp debunked this story as he discovered the Russians were just as mystified about the Roswell incident as the Americans. Bob Lazar claimed that in 1989 that the U.S. government was conducting a project to reverse engineer alien technology from 9 different UFOs collected over decades and hidden in hangars at a location called S4 near Papoose Lake. There's Vicky Verma there. Yeah, so you can see it's a guy. So Bob Lazar did tell some truth. Former Area 51 manager and journalist George Knapp, we worried if it come out. We didn't know what it was. To tell you the truth, we couldn't communicate with it. And there's a link to an interview with Bob Lazar there. So we're going to continue. Hey, buddy. Jeremy Corbell shared a video of Mr. Knapp. God, hold on. Discussing a real story of a civilian, Jerry Freeman, who snuck into the Area 51 base and saw Papoose Lake. Freeman reported seeing security lights on a perimeter and lights that open and close near the center of the lake, and he felt vibrations for almost 2 minutes, which he thought could be either from underground or from Groom Lake. Freeman also reported seeing a door opening in space with a bluish light and then disappearing. George Knapp confirmed that Freeman did not know who Bob Lazar and John Lear were, and that former employees who worked with Bob verified he was a physicist, but the claims were made informally and off the record. Medium user Signals Intel UFO has done great work by transcribing over 50 interviews of Bob Lazar with in-depth information, and Bob claimed to have been hired as a physicist at Los Alamos in May 1982. For evidence about his employment, there's an article written by Terry England on June 30th, 1982. To Lazar, a physicist at the Los Alamos Mason Physics Facility, the important thing is the jet engine. It's something he's been working on for years, England wrote. And there's actually a bit of it there. In July 2020, during Joe Rogan's podcast with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, Corbell said he asked Terry England about Bob Lazar's occupation as a physicist at Los Alamos, and Corbell said, "Look, here's the point. You said Bob Lazar was a physicist at Los Alamos, so how did you base that? You're writing a paper." And England goes, "Yeah." And it got picked up by AP News, and he goes, "If I, England, had misrepresented that he was a physicist at Los Alamos, I would have been blackballed by everybody at Los Alamos. They take that very seriously. He was a physicist. I reported it. AP News picked it up. They repeated it. Not word one from anybody saying he wasn't a physicist at Los Alamos." Great take. So there's a lot of people actively trying to debunk what Bob Lazar has come out and said. And it's good to know there's guys like Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp that are keeping the record straight, keeping it straight. It's absolutely disgusting that they would go to such lengths to demolish this guy's reputation. And I mean Bob Lazar when I say this guy, obviously, but I mean, I don't know. I'm on board with what Bob Lazar claims. I think he's really who he said he is. What do I base that on? Nothing much more than gut feeling, but there's at least people corroborating what he said in the face of other people. Where he's a janitor? What a dick! What kind of a dick would do that? Oh, he worked there, but he was a janitor. He was working on toilets, is what I heard. It's like, oh my God. What a horrible thing. What a horrible, horrible thing. So there you go. I put a link into the chat for those of you that want to check out any of the embedded video as well, but some pretty fascinating stuff. Pretty darn fascinating, if I do say so myself. So I think that's a great article, though. I've had that one open forever, and I just finally read it. Don't know why. Don't know why I've skipped it for so long, but it's just how I roll, I guess. All right, we're going to jump over to some Cryptid Corner. It's time for some Phantoms and Monsters. I did check Sasquatch Chronicles, but there was no new emails that had been submitted. So we're going to start over here at phantomsandmonsters.com, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, this is Lon Strickler's site's fantastic site. If you're into the Fortean topics and you want to read a whole truckload of encounter stories, this is the place you'll definitely want to check out, because there's a bunch about Bigfoot, there's a bunch about Dogman, there's a bunch about Black-Eyed Kids, and the pale crawlers, which are those rake-like things. There's just a ton of stuff over here. Lon does a great job. He's been doing it for years and years. He also is a published author, and you can find information about his published works. You can find information about his podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Podcast. And if you're on YouTube, as you are if you're watching me, head over to Phantoms and Monsters YouTube channel and subscribe. Lon's been working at building up his subscriber base, so the guy works hard, so definitely support what he's doing. The first one tonight coming up is from phantomsandmonsters.com, and this is Crypto Four Corners International. Oh, no, this is one I already read. This is the J.C. Johnson one. The reason I left it open was there's a link down here that Lon included that I wanted to check out, where he links to a bunch of things that he and J.C. Johnson. Here's the list. And I wanted to go through these and talk about some more of these, like the Little People of Northern Minnesota. I want to talk about that. Actually, let's start there, since I'm here. Little People of Northern Minnesota, and this again comes from the J.C. Johnson files. All right, and wait for it to load here. For the past several months, Crypto Four Corners International founder and researcher J.C. Johnson has been in northern Minnesota. It's my old stomping grounds. Well, southern Minnesota, but anyway, Minnesota. Near the Canadian border, investigating several cryptid encounters and phenomena reported by local residents. One of these cryptids is a race of small humanoids known by the indigenous Ojibwe as Bagwajimwinini, or wild man. Other bands have different names for them, including Apayins or Payins, which mean little person. But they're described as 2 to 3 feet in height, with greenish complexion, most likely from the heavy ingestion of plants containing chlorophyll. They live in a darkened world of thick bracken fern canopies and can grow up to 3 feet high. This enables them to freely roam amongst the forest and its edges without detection. There have been many stories associated with them, including possibly human abductions. They sound kind of like little puckwudgies, but Judy Klein gets credit for finding the humanoid peeking from the ferns. Oh, look at that. That's pretty interesting. I think I've seen this before. Oh, it's right here. Here's the actual peeking humanoid, according to the image. Does look like a couple eyes, no doubt. Huh. There's another close-up of it. Yeah, that's creepy looking. That would be easy to miss that in the ferns. The legends regarding these creatures almost uniformly state that it is best if one sights these creatures just to leave it alone and go away. In Massachusetts, there have been several historical and recent sightings of the puckwudgie, and even what some considered attacks. These small creatures have been blamed for some local suicides and disappearances as well. Hockomock Swamp is locally noted by people who live in Massachusetts for being just a flat-out creepy, swampy, mucky geographical location. It is a very thick, soupy bog and was considered by the local Native Americans to be cursed, evil land. The man by the name of William Russo wrote in his blog, then later in his book, The Creature from Bridgewater Triangle, The Other Odd Tales from New England, his own personal account with these creatures. He was walking his dog near his home around midnight, which happens to be just south of the Hockomock Swamp. This is a story I saw on like Monsters and Mysteries in the U.S. or in America, that old show. When a 3 to 4 foot creature just came about 10 feet in front of him and his dog. The creature was first seen by Russo just under a streetlight, and was said by him to be trying to vocalize words, and was even beckoning him to come closer. The man Russo said that, "I've never heard of puckwudgies until Aaron Codio interviewed me for this documentary on the Bridgewater Triangle. As the Wampanoag puckwudgie story goes, a good giant had dispersed the nasty puckwudgie creatures far and wide, and the more benign of the bunch decided to take up residence in the northern Midwest." So this story, as it goes, and it was, I think this gentleman was interviewed and told his story on the show that I'm talking about. But this little guy comes out and he's like kind of like a little diminutive, about 3 foot guy. He looks really odd, like strange and rough, and it's obviously not a child. And according to the interview on the show, which is the very same story, it motioned, put out his hand like this and said, "Amir, Amir, Amir," like Amir, saying, like trying to say, "Come here, come here." So it was trying to beckon him to come. And he, obviously didn't do that. He just noped the hell out of there and got away and left and didn't come back, walking his dog there. But I got to look again. What was that guy's name? This is William Russo. Wrote in his blog, then later in his book. Yeah, William Russo. So that's the guy's name. I've told that story before on the show. I remember the story. I just didn't remember the whole meat of it. But is that him? Yeah, that's Ron Shaw of Four Corners. Okay. So it continues. During the investigation, International Four Corners researcher Ron Shaw interviewed an Ojibwe woman who stated that on one occasion her son saw one of the little people playing a flute. Another witness, an Ojibwe man, stated that he and his son were hunting and at some point were separated. The father tracked his son to a root system of a tree where only his legs were sticking out. He pulled his son free and told his father that the Bagua Jinini were capturing him and were taking him underground. Oh, dear God. Thank God he found him. That's Jane Rodriguez. Noted in David Paulides' Missing 411 series is the disappearance of 39-year-old Corey Kelly. A newspaper account published on October 16th, 2007 give details of the incidents. Northern Minnesota effort search for Corey Kelly brought out hundreds of volunteers. From a daycare owner who cooked for searchers to emergency personnel, Canine Partners, and the Canadian Air Force, the effort last fall to find lost grouse hunter showed the northern Minnesota spirit. Corey Kelly, 39, went grouse hunting a year ago today in the Red Lake Wildlife Management Area in the wilderness northeast of Foretown. He was armed with a shotgun and carried a compass. He was accompanied by Sammy, a yellow lab he borrowed from his hunting partner. On October 17th, he was reported missing, and a search commenced, which eventually resulted in the activation of 62 agencies, hundreds of volunteers, and 6,500 person hours. On Monday, the Bemidji Area National Resources Continuing Education Consortium sponsored a review of the emergency operations presented by Beryl Wernberg, 9/11 Communications Supervisor and Emergency Management Director for the Beltrami County Sheriff's Office of Emergency Management. That was a mouthful. The presentation detailed the emergency responses and lessons learned in a remote area of Beltrami and Lake of the Woods counties. The search continued daily from October 17th to October 22nd and picked up again from October 28th to October 30th. Searchers went back to the area November 7th, November 9th, and November 22nd, working in dense forest and swamp, and the dog was found October 26th. Kelly's body was found less than 2 hours after the search resumed in the spring at 10:20 a.m. April 27th, Lake of the Woods Sheriff Dallas Block was flying over an area searchers had covered in the fall and saw Kelly's body. Searchers had walked within 15 feet of the spot of the fall before, but missed seeing anything in the 8-foot-tall swamp grass. Kelly had apparently died of hypothermia. His body was cared for by the Helgeson Funeral Home, and his brother Brian, who was on the scene for most of the search, was able to accompany Kelly's body. One of the lessons searchers and professionals alike learned how much courage is required to hike every day for 16 hours through nearly impenetrable forest, swamp, and brush, and at the end of the day face defeat. It was a gut-wrenching thing, Wernberger said. I'll tell you, toward the end of this thing, it took a lot of courage just to get up and go. Well, where are we going with this? Okay, I don't need everybody's lesson, what they learned. But anyway, some members of the local band of Ojibwe, according to statements made to international C4C investigators, believe the Bagwanini abducted Corey Kelly. Any updates will be reported here at Phantoms and Monsters. JC and the Crypto Four Corners International team are busy investigating other anomalies in northern Minnesota, including Bigfoot and Dogman. The team is involved with other continuing investigations throughout North America. So there you go. No doubt J.C. Johnson was the real deal. He was out there doing it before most people, and really was a founding member of a lot of the research that went into all of these cryptids. And like I said, he's really an authority in it, an authority of it, if you will. So let's get to the next one. Sorry. Just looking out the other room. All right. What do we got next? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is the last one. So let's go to this one. This isn't it. This is it. Here we go to tall, hairy bipedal creature unnerves Oklahoma teen riding her horse. Yikes. All right. A northern Oklahoma teen girl encounters a tall, hairy bipedal creature while riding her horse at night. The incident has haunted her for over 45 years ever since. I'll bet. I appreciate the way you allow people to get this off their chest. My name is not important. I'm now a 64-year-old woman. But this happened to me when I was almost 17. I was born and raised in the country. Mom stayed home and Dad worked at the oil fields. We lived in northern Oklahoma near the Kansas line. I had a younger sister who was a girly girl, but I was a tomboy through and through. I was the son my dad never had. He couldn't keep me inside the house. I spent my days on my horse riding many miles each day. It was my heaven on earth. Many times I'd take an after dark ride looking at the stars and enjoying the solitude. This particular evening, I decided last minute to grab my horse and just take off. Probably just to get away from my sister or some other teenage angst at the time. It wasn't unusual for me to just grab a blanket only, no saddle, and a halter with the head rope fastened into the reins and just take off. I always had to put a bit in my horse's mouth. Off I went in a tank top, pair of cutoff jeans, low top Converse tennis shoes, and normal summer attire. I had several dogs following along and maybe a barn cat or two for a way before they would head back to the barn. It was dark, maybe half a moon, and hardly a cloud in the sky and down to the low 80s after a high 90-degree day. I head out on my favorite 6-mile route that took me into the pastures where a small creek snaked through the hills, the sand hills. All along the creek were large trees and bushes taking advantage of the wet areas. I had my horse in a slow rocking trot with her head down, half asleep. Dogs panting along beside us, and me with my head tilted back, watching an unusually active night of falling stars. All of a sudden, my horse threw up her head and did one of those dead in their tracks stops that leave you up around their ears. I noticed her ears were straight up and staring at something. She did a quick back step or two, was shivering as if she was cold. I glanced down at my dogs, and they too were looking intently off towards the creek. That's when I looked back between my horse's ears, right where she was staring, and I saw a movement as I watched a large, hair-covered animal walking upright came into view about 40 feet away. I couldn't breathe. I was so scared. I knew I was seeing something that didn't exist. It stopped at an opening between the trees and squared up to me, staring intently in my direction. It was huge, with large shoulders and long arms almost to its knees in the moonlight. I could see its hair was on the thin side, as I could see dark skin on it in several places. It stood swaying slowly back and forth, looking at me. It lifted its head as if smelling me, and stared at me, blinking its large eyes slowly. I thought it was a gorilla, crossed with a caveman. About that time, one of the smaller dogs growled at the sight, and my horse did one of those nervous snorts like they do. The creature turned its body back towards the creek, and in just a step or two, looked back at me and was gone out of sight. I sat there with tears running down my cheeks, finally taking a few deep breaths. I turned my horse the 3 miles back. What does that say? I turned my horse the 3 miles back or so back towards home, and off we went as fast as we could go, followed by a couple of dogs, and passing a couple who had already headed back that way. We hit the barn door, and I slid up my horse and collapsed, my legs weak with fear. I closed the doors and locked them, ran to the other end of the barn, slid the big doors shut, and suited the bar to keep them from moving. I sat there frozen with fear, being a teenage girl that loved her horse more than I can explain in words. I was determined to keep her safe. I worried that the creature would come to get her or one of the dogs, so I sat in the barn the rest of the night. At daylight, I noticed the blanket I used to ride back was nowhere to be found. I had lost it somewhere along the creek. I didn't say anything to my parents, probably out of fear, that they would not let me ride alone anymore or not believe me and laugh at my story. I slept in the barn every night for weeks and feared that thing was coming to harm my animals. Every little noise would send my heart beating into overdrive. My 410 gauge shotgun was loaded and ready to protect my horse and dogs. One day, with the sun shining bright, I headed towards the creek area. We were all nervous the closer we got to the spot where I'd seen this creature. I spotted my blanket where I'd nearly fallen off my horse. I quietly slipped off of her, threw the blanket on her back, grabbed a handful of mane, and jumped back on. A few steps at a time, we neared the creek, and we were at the spot where I'd seen the creature. Since this was sand hills, there were no tracks, only large depressions in the areas of the sand. My dogs were sniffing each area, all the while shivering like they were ready to cut and run at a moment's notice. At the time, I'd seen a branch that was near the creature's head, where I'd seen it, and it was only a couple inches above its head while I stared at it. I rode my horse to the branch, and it was at least 6 inches above my head while sitting on the horse. It was 15 hands high, and I'm 5'8". I have no idea how tall it was, but it was enormous. After a few weeks, I stopped sleeping in the barn. I would clean and check on her several times a night, and I kept that up for several years until she passed away, taking a piece of my heart with her. This has haunted me all for the rest of my life, and not a day goes by that I don't think about it and what I saw that night. I've hunted and fished all my life, but I've never been at ease in the woods. I know what's out there. I feel like I have the knowledge of something that other folks don't. I've married and divorced and had a couple of children who I have never allowed to be out of my sight for any extended time. Unlike me, they never jumped on a horse and left for hours just riding to wherever their hearts desire. A couple of times while hunting, I've felt a wave of fear and nausea come over me that I hot-footed back to my vehicle with it all in my head, or I was sensing something out there. Anyway, it was a life-changing experience that has haunted me to this day. People find me hard to get close to, and I have no patience with stupidity. Sounds like a great person. I now live in a city, but in the evening, I can close my eyes and feel my horse underneath me, with the smells of the woods, and go back to a time before I knew that the monsters were real. I'll take this to my grave wondering what that was and why I had to see it and live with it, with the knowledge that they do exist. Yikes. That's an incredibly creepy story. I mean, what most of the story is the reaction, really, because the entire event was only moments. But it's the unknowns, right? Does it want me? Does it want my animals? Is it going to come back? Does it know? Is it going to follow us? Know where I live? Yeah, I mean, that's a lot for somebody to carry. I think the thing was just like, oh, what's somebody doing on a horse out here at this time of night? That's strange. And then just probably kept wandering. In her mind, it was a creature that was maybe going to try to kill her or its horse, eat it. Who knows? But all the same, it was plenty real for that person. That is really, really sketchy, creepy. Here's the strange one coming up next, and this is why I love Lon's site. Is there's just such an incredible array of stories, as you can tell. I mean, we did the Pukwudgies, Little People one, then we went to Bigfoot. Now we're going to a whole different line of strange. This is from phantomsandmonsters.com. Reptilian child observed in car in southwest Pennsylvania. From August 19th. This is from today. Just posted, folks. Reptilian child observed in car in southwest Pennsylvania. Just think about that. Could be your neighbor for all you know. Anybody ever have one of those strange neighbors? Now here's me saying that. And I'm the strange neighbor probably for everybody in my neighborhood. I've lived here for 10 years and I know like 2 people in the neighborhood. So I'm probably the strange neighbor that they'd be like, yeah, I think that guy might be from space. But everybody knows that 1 or 2 people that just don't seem to fit in right. It's like they just aren't very good at being human, you know? Like they're not quite right at it. They may be kind of close, but they just seem awkward. And what if those were those people? Those are the ones that are wearing disguises, and they're really not people. I know it's kind of an out there idea, but just think of that possibility that, you know, there's plenty of reports of them being sighted in our metropolitan areas, in towns, and in cars. I mean, they're out there somewhere if they're here, right? But which ones are they? How do you tell? And what are they doing? Are they just blending in like, it's a nice place? You know, nobody's trying to like eradicate our species here. This is good. I don't know. Maybe they come from some horrible situation. Maybe they're just here to study, check us out, see what they can learn. I don't know. But everybody knows those people that just don't seem to fit in. And I always wonder, could they be the ones? Or maybe it's just the opposite. Maybe they're the ones that you just like and you don't know why. They're just the people that you meet that just, God, you just think they're great. Maybe those are the alien people living among us because they're so good and they can make you like them. Maybe that's the ones. I don't know. Anybody's guess. I don't know. All right, well, let's see what this story is. A witness recalls a reptilian sighting that he had as a boy living in southwest Pennsylvania. The reptilian was a child in a car sitting at a red light. He never mentioned the incident for fear of being ridiculed. So this is a story Lon got sent to him. It says, "Hi, Lon. I hope all is well with you. Today I was reading your post about the Houston Rat Man sightings." Again, I haven't read those. I'm going to read those, obviously. "And it triggered a memory from my childhood. Not of a rat man, but of a possible reptilian-like humanoid. Well, this happened back in the mid to late 70s in my hometown of southwestern Pennsylvania. I was about 10 years old or so at the time, and it was a warm summer day, and my mom was talking to my brother, who was about 2 or 3 at the time, and me into town to do some shopping. I was sitting in the front passenger seat with my brother was in a car seat in the back, and we had the windows down in the car, as did most cars because AC at the time was an expensive option. Yeah, that's true. I remember. Does it have AC? Now it's like every car has AC. We were sitting at a red light in the center of town when the car pulled up in the lane next to us, and as I recall, it was an upscale type of car for the time, along the lines of a Lincoln or Lincoln Mercury. That's 2 different. Okay. Maybe like a Lincoln Town car or something. As we were waiting for the light to change, I remember looking over to the car next to us. The car had its windows down as well and had a sunroof, which was also an expensive option at the time. That was open as well, so I had a clear view into that car, augmented with the light from the sunroof. Anyway, I just happened to look over into this car that pulled up next to us, and what I saw was a woman that was driving the car and appeared perfectly normal to me. She had a child with her who was in the back but was leaning over the back of the front seat, nuzzling the woman that was driving like a pet or a small child would. And the woman was stroking the child's face. The child appeared to be about 3 or 4 years old, dressed in age-appropriate clothing, except the child's face and head didn't look normal. What I observed was something that looked what I now know as a reptilian. The face and head were shaped differently than a normal human child's head. I remember that the skin appeared to be a light green color and some sort of small comb structure that ran the ran from the front or back of the head down to the middle of the scalp. Thinking back, it reminds me of the drawings or photos I've seen of reptilians, only child-sized. I didn't look for very long because I was kind of freaked out by what I was seeing, and I didn't want to stare for fear of being caught. My mom never saw what I did as she was concentrating on the traffic light, and I almost said something, but then the light changed and the car accelerated ahead of us, and we never got close to it again. As I said, the whole thing really freaked me out. I spent days afterwards trying to rationalize what I saw, and the best I could come up with at the time was that the child had to have been wearing some sort of Halloween mask or something. But in the middle of summer? Anyway, I never said anything about this to anyone because, well, who would believe me? Having picked up paranormal research as a hobby several years ago and knowing the reptilians have the ability to appear as something else to humans, I now believe that what I saw that day was possibly a reptilian juvenile, and mother, only the juvenile had not quite developed the ability to mask itself to humans like the mother could because she appeared perfectly normal to me. I had pretty much forgotten about this until I read that posting today, and I have no other explanation for what I saw back then. Sincerely, TL. So, what would you do? I mean, seriously, what would you guys do if you looked over and the car next to you was a reptilian child? And let's say you were able to observe it enough to know that's no mask. What would you do? I'd probably do pretty much what the kid did. Just like, oh my God. I'd be like, oh, I can't wait to get on the show and talk about this. You know, would you whip out a camera phone? Would you whip out some kind of way to take photos? What if you got saw? Like, say you did that and they saw you. Wouldn't you be afraid? Because how important it is for them to stay hidden. And do you think they'd just let you wander away with a photo like, it sucks to be you. I'm going to be rich, you know? Or do you think they might hunt you down? I think I'd be worried about that, honestly. So for me, personally, as much as I love this stuff and as much as I love like investigating and being able to provide some form of evidence for you guys, and this goes back to like seeing the UFO. I wish I could show you guys what I saw. I wish I could say, and I videoed it, and here it is. I wish I could have done that. I wish more than a lot that I could have provided that, because what I saw was really what I think of as, once in a lifetime opportunity to see something so incredibly different. But in a case like this, I don't know. I mean, they stay hidden because I guess they feel like they need to, and they probably do. But if they caught you taking a picture of them, especially that little child that obviously the mother wants to protect, what do you think they would do? Would they just let you go? I'd be kind of curious what you guys think. I would be curious. What would you do? Would you take the photo? Would you try to act like you're on the phone while you're snapping photos? Like, no, Becky, I don't know what you're talking about. I think maybe I would. But at the same time, I wouldn't want them coming looking for you, because obviously they're way more advanced than we are. They can do a lot of things that we can't, maybe physically as well. I don't know what reptilians are capable of, but I'm betting they're probably more physically adept than we are. But at any rate, I'd try to take the picture. Yeah? David says he would. Okay. We're not real ravens. Okay, and that's not, Rachel's talking about something else. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. Well, I appreciate your feedback, David. At least one of you is paying attention. No, I think that's a fascinating thing to wonder about. What would you do? What would you do? Well, there you go. I think that's probably enough of the cryptid corner. So that kind of brings us to the end of our journey tonight. There's more to read, but there's not enough time to read more. So that's kind of the conundrum we're in here, folks. because we just got 4 minutes left of the show. Yeah, and remember, again, I want to reiterate this. Again, if you're a member of our YouTube community, please be here Wednesday night. Please be here
Bear.
Wednesday night. What does that say? A bear. The ghost box says bear. Or the ghost radar. Bear. Wouldn't it be something if there's a bear outside my house? Maybe. There's a pear tree that's dropping fruit right now. It's pretty small because we haven't had a lot of rain. But could be a bear. We're living in that part of the country where there's bear and grizzly and mooses and wolves, all kinds of weird stuff. Mountain lions, coyotes. But anyway, but be here on Wednesday if you could. And it's up to you if you want a free t-shirt or not. But somebody that's a member of our YouTube channel on Wednesday is going to win a free t-shirt. I don't know who, because we're going to figure that out on Wednesday. But the first criteria is you got to be here. So again, 7 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday right here on YouTube. Be here. And if you're present, your name will be entered into a drawing that Don and I will do to determine who wins a free t-shirt. And we'll be doing these drawings every so often. Just another way to say thank you so much. We appreciate your support. If you're not already a member, get to be a member. It's not very expensive. I don't think. Maybe it is by YouTube measures, but I tried to take a real low number just because, it does help a lot to keep the lights going and to pay the bills and keep doing the shows. But I definitely want to give back to you guys. And one of the ways we're going to do that. Another way that being a member is going to be, I hope, a good value for you is that there's going to be three documentaries in the works currently. These are, I don't know if they're documentaries as much as they're research videos of doing paranormal research. One is in the works and almost done. Then we've got the Davenport Hotel one, which will be coming up next. And then after that, the Montvale Hotel that is going to be coming up after that. And I streamed a little bit of that. So you can go through the investigations videos on our YouTube channel and find the Montvale Hotel and catch that, what we did stream. But there's a lot more that wasn't streamed, and we'll be presenting that in video form for you guys. But those of you who are members are going to have early access to all of those things and more. As I can develop more value for you guys, I will be doing that. So hopefully make it worthwhile to be a member. But at the very least, just know that you're helping to keep this show going. You're helping to support it. As do you, Super Chatters. Thank you so much. That's a huge, wonderful thing. And it's gone a long way into keeping the lights on as well. So, but that'll be happening on Wednesday. Again, right now we're planning September 2nd for Deb to be here because, as you know, the sound is fixed. Even though it was fixed by divine intervention, my hand to God, I don't know how it got fixed. I don't know where that other audio profile came from, but it's right there, right in front of me. It just appeared and it works perfectly. The old one still doesn't work, but the new one does. So I don't know what happened, what changed, but it was like the hand of an angel came and fixed my sound. So yeah, if you missed the story about that, rewind the episode all the way to the beginning. If you missed the beginning of the live stream, play that because I explained it all in depth and how amazing it was. But yeah. All right. So I guess that's going to wrap it up, guys. Anyway, I'll see you on Wednesday if you're here. Again, if you're a member, definitely be here. But if you're not, please be here anyway. I'd love to have you here. All right. And remember, I got to disconnect the network quick. So hold on so I can do a closing here.
From the sequel Bible.
There we go. All right. So remember, at the end of the day, just remember, no matter what, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. All right, we'll be back Wednesday, folks. So please join us, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That'd be 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right on here on the YouTube only. There won't be any network involvement there. So An anonymous white hat hacker. They're the good guys who help people. No, I'm not hacked. Nobody hacked in to develop a new sound profile for me. Yeah, I know that. I think the white hats are great. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, this was divine intervention. I'm going with divine intervention because that means God loves me. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for us tonight, folks. Love you guys, and we'll see you Wednesday. Again, free t-shirt giveaway on Wednesday for the members of our YouTube channel. Become a member if you're not. You could be available to win a t-shirt as well. And join the Discord. There's t-shirt giveaways every month over there. So just saying, trying to give you value everywhere I turn. Not only in the quality of the shows, but in looking extra special with that killer logo. All right, guys, that's it for me. Love you, and we'll see you on Wednesday night. Until then.